Hi everyone, welcome back to Real Estate Redefined, a web series brought to you by Cisco's Hybrid Work Center of Excellence team. My name's Murray, and I'm joined by my colleague Mike in delivering the content of today's episode. In our 10th and final episode of the web series, we will be discussing Cisco Spaces. As a recap of the previous episode, we discussed telemetry and APIs. For those returning visitors, thank you so much for continuing to watch and learn from our web series. We hope these episodes are helping you and your colleagues understand what is possible with technology and what the future may hold for the built space. For those who are just joining us for the first time today, please make sure to check out our YouTube to watch the previous episodes in the series. Now let's jump into episode 10. Today's episode will focus on the Cisco solution, Cisco Spaces. We'll be covering several key areas. First and foremost, why Cisco Spaces? We'll then do an overview on the solution, followed by the architecture and licensing, and the key outcomes and use cases. And finally, finish off with a demo of one of the new dashboards and some key resources and takeaways from the solution. Now I'll hand it over to Mike to start us off with why Cisco Spaces.
Thank you, Murray. Let's dig in. To begin, the workplace has gone hybrid, and workspaces are being reimagined. Hybrid work has become the new normal. Organizations are looking to downsize their real estate portfolio and use things in a more efficient way. They're striving for exceptional user experience. Workplaces are being digitized for data and insights to collect better information about how spaces are being used and how they could be used in the future. There's an increased focus on safety, work-life balance, and employee well-being. And lastly, not only short-term, but long-term sustainability goals are often considered and built into the process. Next, we'll look at some of the challenges of the hybrid workplace. Some of these challenges include, but are not limited to, poor employee experience, limited flexibility, inefficient use of space, occupancy and space utilization management, employee safety and well-being, data silos, operational efficiency, data-driven decision-making, security concerns, and the sustainability goal gap, from ambition to action. Cisco Spaces provides all the tools a smart space needs in a single platform. It has reimagined buildings to serve as smart spaces. Cisco Spaces connects people, things, and spaces. It harnesses the power of your Cisco hardware and sensors, making your buildings safe, smart, and sustainable, creating a seamless experience for all people within them, both occupying and managing the building. No matter the building type or location, Spaces turns it into a smart space. Some of these building types include workplaces, hospitals, hotels, venues, malls, campuses, and more. When looking at workspaces, the focus tends to be on employee experience and productivity, environmental monitoring, space utilization, and occupancy insights and analytics. From the retail perspective, the focus is slightly different, looking at a seamless visitor onboarding experience and contextual engagements. Finally, from the hospital lens in healthcare, the patient experience and safety is the forefront of their mind, as well as asset tracking and tagging. Now we'll take a look at Cisco Spaces solution overview. We'll talk about how it all comes together from a technical perspective. I'll let Murray kick it off.
Thank you, Mike, for the overview on Cisco Spaces and why our customers should be using the solution. Now that we understand what Cisco Spaces can do to help an organization, how does the solution actually work within our customer's environment? It all starts with connectivity. By having Cisco connectivity like switching and wireless, as well as our video endpoints, our customers can easily make use of Cisco Spaces to turn their network into a sensor for the built environment. We can then use this infrastructure to introduce additional endpoints, both Cisco-made and third-party, to supplement the data we are already gathering with additional data points. Once we have connected the infrastructure to Cisco Spaces, we can then add context to the data we are capturing. We do this by making physical location the grounding point of the data on both a micro and macro scale. We look at granular information on individual sites and build a hierarchy of sites based on the geography of a company's portfolio. With Spaces, you will be able to visualize a single view of your building using a common location taxonomy and interactive 3D maps. With the hierarchy, you'll be able to capture rich metadata across the company's portfolio. Now that context has been added to the data, we can make use of intelligent services to identify people and things within the built space. By making use of our powerful location engine, we can gain context on the X and Y location of a person or thing within an individual site. Our multi-stage data filtration process then cleanses, standardizes, and applies machine learning to unify the data in order to deliver actionable insights for business outcomes. Cisco Spaces also helps enable the seamless onboarding of an individual user or device onto the secure wireless infrastructure using features like captive portals and open roaming. In addition to all the features available within the Spaces platform itself, Cisco Spaces makes it easy to extend the use of the data being captured to other apps and integrations. This allows our customers to do more with their data and truly think outside the box to accomplish their workplace or IT goals. Now I'll hand it over to Mike to talk about the architecture and use cases.
Let's now take a look at the Cisco Spaces platform architecture. To begin, we'll look at the very base of the diagram. We see all of our wired endpoints passing telemetry up to the wired endpoint gateway. Some of these devices are smart PDUs, POA desks and devices, occupancy sensors, environmental sensors, and daylight sensors. From here, the data and telemetry gets passed up to the wired endpoint gateway, living at the same layer as the wired access points and access switches. As we roll the telemetry up to the Spaces connector, we see the wireless LAN controller and distributed switches also on the same layer, collecting this data to a centralized location. From here, the connector passes all of this data up to Cisco Spaces, acting as the data aggregation layer. Within this data aggregation layer, we also have API telemetry coming in from other cloud services, such as the Meraki Cloud, collecting endpoint data from distributed edge devices, as well as the Control Hub, which is collecting endpoint data from collaboration devices. From here, once all the data lives in the aggregation layer, we can then look at the outbound API to send this telemetry to other integrated systems. These systems could include building management systems, automation systems, lighting and shading control systems. From here, these integrated systems can use the data gained from all of the wired endpoints within a building to create actionable insights and develop a deeper sequence of operations for enhanced building efficiency and optimization. I know what you're thinking. This all sounds great, Mike, but who is this for? Well, we'll look at three specific verticals. First off, workspaces. For employees, the goal is to improve employee experience, well-being, and productivity. For the facilities and workplace experience teams, their goal is to optimize the utilization of the space, save energy, and monitor environmental conditions. Moving on to venues. For visitors, they're really looking for a seamless Wi-Fi onboarding experience as well as contextual engagements while they're at the venue. For the marketing and loyalty teams, they're looking to acquire customers, segment visitors, drive revenue, and collect analytics. Moving on to healthcare. From a patient's perspective, they want seamless Wi-Fi onboarding, enhanced safety, and a better overall experience. For the nurses and facilities teams, they're looking to monitor patients, track critical equipment assets, and automate the monitoring of temperature-sensitive drugs and vaccines. Lastly, from the perspective of IT teams, it's really the same across all verticals. They'd like to place APs automatically, track and locate IT assets, detect rogue devices, as well as onboard Wi-Fi users seamlessly and securely.
Thanks, Mike. Looking at one major element of the platform that we see our customers making use of to help enable their employees, I'll be going through a demo of the 3D rich map that can be generated using Cisco Spaces and the data we are capturing from Cisco infrastructure. This is the Spaces signage for our Atlanta office. This first page shows some of the data points we are capturing and summarizing the information across the different floors within this office. We can see the current occupancy of the office based on the number of dedicated seats as well as the indoor air quality. For this demo, we will navigate to the 18th floor, where we will then see the 3D rich map. On this rich map, we once again see the occupancy and indoor air quality, but now for just the 18th floor. The goal of the rich map is to help users understand what is happening in the workspace and make decisions on where they would like to work from. One of the features that helps enable this, besides just the visual, is Room Finder. With Room Finder, you can set criteria for your meeting requirements and then get a list of rooms that will provide the needs of the meeting. For the sake of the demo, we will leave the criteria as is and select room H71 from the list. When we select this room, it will focus the map on this room and bring up the data we are capturing about this space. Most of the data shown for a workspace like a huddle room or a conference room will be coming from the Cisco collaboration endpoint, but we can also add third-party sensors to provide information and insights about a room. As we can see from the data, the room is meant to be used by a single user and is currently unoccupied. The room is not booked at any point later in the day today, so we can comfortably use this room until the end of the day. Now that we have found the room that we want to work from, we can press the hold button so that the room turns blue and a message shows up on the collaboration device so that no other employee goes in to use this room while we walk over to use it. While this demo is simple, the ease of the solution is what is so impactful for our customers' employees because it makes it seamless for them to make decisions on where they would like to work from and what is happening in the larger office space. As a last note on the 3D rich map, it's important to understand that this is something that a user can pull up on their laptop from their home. They can use this to actually make decisions on whether they want to work from the office that day or stay at home if you work in a hybrid environment. Now looking at a new feature that is currently in EFT and will be added to all rich maps in the near future, Cisco Spaces is adding true blue dot wayfinding to the solution. With this feature deployed, when a user selects a room, they will be able to pull up a QR code on the signage and scan it with their phone to open up an app clip. This app clip will provide a path to the room as well as the user's current location to help them navigate to the room they would like to use. This is all done by making use of the Cisco access points in the space and enabling the Bluetooth Low Energy or BLE radio. If there are dead zones in the space from access point coverage, this can be supplemented with BLE beacons. We will now show a video of this feature in action at one of our recent events attended by the Spaces BU.
With a click of a button, what we are able to do is to generate a live QR code, which is basically going to move this 3D rich map to my phone with blue dot and wayfinding. So I'm going to scan the QR code. And one of the awesome things of this technology is that it does not need you to download a mobile app. Nobody wants to download another mobile app on their phone. So what we're essentially doing here is utilizing an app interstitial called Apple App Clips to deliver a Cisco Spaces wayfinding experience. As you can see, I scan the QR code, this 3D rich map is loaded on my phone, and it's already selected the area that I want to go to because I told the signage that I want to be at the smart buildings location, and it's basically going to now take me over to that location.
As you can see, it's charting out its path for me. And it's continuously sort of understanding where I am walking to and modifying that path, which is super cool because it lets me walk around and explore the arena, but also sort of lead me into the booth that I want to go to. One of the cool things of being at this event and representing Cisco Spaces this time, as you can see, is that we are at two locations. We have the Spaces booth, and we also have the Spaces juice bar, which is very cool and metaphorical because Cisco Spaces helps you squeeze more juice out of your network and turn your buildings into smart spaces. So, we're very excited to partner with the Cisco networking team and be a part of this awesome event.
As you can see, I'm about 240 feet away from my destination, and I'm just going to keep walking.
One of the things that you'll also notice is that the blue dot gives me a compass, which sort of tells me how am I doing with respect to the path that it's drawn. And that just keeps it extremely helpful for the user, because I know if I'm on track or if I'm deviating from the track. It's an extremely crowded arena. There are many people on the floor, but like I said, the path keeps building itself. It's dynamic, which gives me the flexibility to walk around, walk around a crowded location and determine the best way that I want to reach where I want to go. All right, seems like we're super close to the destination. I can almost see the booth over there, and we're just about 30 feet away. All right, guys, I've arrived, and I'm gonna get going with my meeting. Thank you so much.
When it comes to the gathering of data from conference rooms, as mentioned earlier, this typically comes from the Cisco collaboration device in the room. We can see the way in which this occupancy is captured by the device in the image below. As we can see, the device identifies the features of a face to recognize the number of people in a room. When it comes to capturing air quality of a space, that is coming from the navigator device in the room, or for smaller rooms, the proper desk series device. This data is then presented on the rich map in the format we are seeing here, and we see in the rich map demo before. While wireless data and our collaboration endpoints are the primary way in which we capture occupancy data into Cisco spaces, we can also make use of our Meraki camera portfolio to understand building level occupancy. By creating a virtual tripwire in the image that the camera sees, we can understand ingress and egress counts into an office or building. In addition to cameras, the Meraki portfolio also has environmental sensors. For those customers who want to understand more specifics on air quality like particulate matter levels, they can make use of the MT14 and 15 to capture this information from the space.
Next, we'll look at how your wireless infrastructure can leverage Cisco spaces for your desired outcomes. From an integration perspective, Catalyst Center, Prime, and Meraki are all available, with the exception of Prime being end of life, so you'd really want to focus on Meraki and Catalyst Center as your means and methods. Your outcome for this exercise is indoor location services, and to build occupancy analytics based not only around the building, floor, and specific areas within a space. Here you can see the heat map showing different areas within the space and the density of occupied status within that specific area. As you see the green fade to red, we know that space is more and more densely occupied with a higher count of people in that area. Let's take a look at Cisco Space's AP Auto Locate feature. This is a feature that allows for automatic and accurate AP mapping and placement, offering a faster deployment and reduced IT workload to the staff responsible. Can eliminate errors and reduce troubleshooting when standing up a new space or reconfiguring in an existing space. This feature also allows to scale indoor location services and focus on additional outcomes that the users may be requiring. This is typically implemented using a Cisco Catalyst 9800 series wireless LAN controller and 9000 series access points using iOS XE 17.12 or later. Cisco Spaces is instrumental in visualizing this data once it's collected and associating those physical locations to their digital points within the 3D model.
Thanks, Mike. The last feature that we want to show you in today's session that we are all very excited for is the Space Utilization Dashboard. The goal of the analytics provided by this dashboard is to help companies better understand how the spaces in their portfolio are being used. An organization can then use this contextualized data to improve their workspaces to reduce cost and improve experience by right-sizing their real estate and adjusting room capacities based on actual usage, as well as reallocate space from underutilized rooms to optimize the overall footprint of an office. Now we'll be showing you a demo of how this solution is going to look when it's fully deployed. So this here is a light demo of the Cisco Spaces Space Utilization app that is currently in early field trials, or EFT. As you can see, this dashboard and this application will be primarily for the utilization of space as a whole and specific space types, and visualizing the information captured from different Cisco solutions using a couple of different types of dashboards. First one we're seeing here is the distribution across all different workspace types and workspaces. As we can see, we have a couple of different dashboards that break this down based off of different criteria, but mostly are based off of total time of utilization of these different types of spaces or the specific space. So this dashboard, we can see time spent by day of the month. And if you hover over the columns, you will see the actual breakdown of the data. We can see some summary of the max time spent and minimum time spent in rooms. Now we'll scroll back up and we're going to go to meeting rooms. So we can see that we can click into each of the individual room types and look at the further or more granular breakdown of these room types. So for meeting rooms, we've kind of qualified these as a medium, a large, or a small. But ultimately, the graphs or the visualizations that you see will be fairly similar even as you get more and more granular. Except for this meeting room capacity versus occupancy matrix dashboard. This dashboard you will not see on the high-level view of all workspaces, but you will see for the breakdown on a specific room type, like conference rooms. And as we can see, it does that comparison from the number of people actually using the room versus how many people that room is built for. Here we see another dashboard for the small meeting type rooms and comparing how often that is seeing the 1 to 4 person usage of those rooms, because we've actually seen a pattern of those get used by fewer people than it's supposed to be in our own offices. And then a couple other dashboards showing the similar data but in a different way. I think that this occupancy pattern dashboard on the right here is actually super impactful because it breaks down those 4 different types of occupancy and displays it in a very easy to read manner. And then we also have this utilization or the booking of rooms based on if they have a collaboration device or not. Now going to move on to comparing by location. Again, we're going to see some of the similar graphs, but in this dashboard, we're actually comparing 2 rooms and those criteria that we see on these graphs just between these 2 rooms. We can also do a comparison by date for a specific room to see how the utilization of this room changes based on the date within a set of months. Once again, dashboards are going to look very similar, have similar data, but just be more granular for this specific room. And then because we are looking at a specific room, we have these room capacity and occupancy matrix dashboards that again show those 4 different occupancy types we have identified: reservation, ghost, ad hoc, and idle/empty. And we also have reporting features that'll be able to get pulled from this application, as well as some settings that I can't show you in this light demo today, but will obviously be there if you deploy this within your own environment. As a wrap up to the final session of this web series, please make sure to use these links to learn more about Cisco Spaces and how the solution can help your organization. Thank you all so much for joining us for today's final episode of the web series. If you just joined us today for the first time, please make sure to check out our previous episodes on YouTube.